Welcome to the MoneyShow.com video network. I'm Charles Githler here with Steve Forbes. Steve, good to see you here with us.
Good to see you, Charles.
On the subject of gold, which is related to the subject of potential deflation, it's come down. Do you expect to see more of that, or do you expect gold prices and the dollar to be pretty much flat going into next year?
Well, this is the problem with the way the Fed operates. You don't know. What side of the bed will Bernanke get up in a particular morning? And that's why I've always felt you should have outside measurements, hard and fast measurements of what the Fed is doing, so the market doesn't have this whole industry trying to guess, looking at entrails each day, what the Fed might do. I hope Bernanke's learned the lesson that a weak currency is not a good thing, but he may decide he wants to become Helicopter Ben again. You know, he once made that statement in reference to in a depression, you throw money out, including from a helicopter, just to get it out there. And I hope he learns that spraying money around like a fire hose is not the way to get an economy back on track. What we had here, Charles, was not a lack of liquidity, not a lack of cash, but fear of institutions. You wouldn't want to lend to another bank because you didn't know what condition they were in. So the system froze up. It went into cardiac arrest. It was like a reservoir full of water but suddenly froze. So you turn on your tap, nothing comes out. So we got to thaw the reservoir.
You mentioned that in your great article, that there was a tax on writing checks, so people withdrew money from banks. And in this instance,
the Great Depression.
Wild? Yes, it was fascinating, and I thought I'd read a lot about the Great Depression, but I didn't know about that. I did notice that they raised taxes on people earning over $100,000 a year significantly, which, like Smoot-Hawley, caused the Depression.
And again, they said, well, it's only the top 4%, and it's only the rich, and there'll be no harm when they raise the rate from 25 to 63%, and whee!
The more things change, the more they stay the same, eh?
Sadly, sometimes.
Well, what would be signs to you that the Fed is doing things right? I noticed that the LIBOR, the interbank lending, going back to what you just talked about with institutions lending to one another, I believe I saw it on CNBC, was under 2% this morning, which is a significant reduction from how high it had been, several hundred basis points higher in just the past few months. So that's a good sign. Are you looking for certain points on LIBOR?
Yes, I think that is a very positive sign. In September, when the system nearly did collapse, you saw overnight LIBOR 5.8%. You saw 30-day treasuries, because people just wanted safety. They didn't care what they earned. They just wanted their principal to have some safety. Almost negative percent, 1/100th of 1%. So you had this huge gap, which told you the system was freezing up. People were behaving like hoarding food in a famine, or fear of a famine. You just clutch what you have. You're not going to lend it out to anybody. And so that overnight LIBOR, which had been over 5%, is now down to about 28 basis points to 28 1/100ths of a percent, which is what it should be. And you mentioned the 30-day LIBOR, about under 2%, 1.7, good. And 3-month, 6-month LIBOR under 3%. So yes, those numbers are moving in the right direction. And with all the guarantees around, so that banks can start to lend to one another, you don't have to worry about your money fund breaking the buck. That's all to the good. But now then the question becomes, okay, a little bit of thawing taking place. How do we get people, animal spirits revived again? People have been through a trauma. For example, the housing market. Some developers are telling me had bottomed in August in markets such as Las Vegas, which had a huge boom and bust, parts of Arizona, and other markets. People were starting to buy again. Houses had gone down so much, people were saying, hey, this started a good thing. Then came the September crisis. People said, we don't care what the price is. We aren't doing anything. So I hope we can get back to that kind of August mentality. And if we don't do things wrong on taxes, then I think that'll start to happen.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's been great.
Thank you.
We've been with Steve Forbes on the MoneyShow.com video network. I'm Charles Githler.